Hello, everyone. Yeah, the opening with a jingle. That's what I'm going to do every time now.
Yes. We'll
All
have to
right,
play some jingling in the background, some sort of jingle music.
right. I'm Deborah DeRuin, and welcome to today's live. We are going to stay in our lane and talk about things that we know about, industry things. Today, we're specifically going to touch on trade shows and specifically NAA since it happened last week. So welcome. And here's
Yes.
my partner in crime.
Hi, it's that Kimberly, Kimberly Scott, as my mama calls me.
Kimberly Scott.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear about how NAA went for you and others. And before we do that, we have to remind everybody we are watching live, or we're streaming live from Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. No Instagram just yet. We're working on that. So, but wherever you're watching from, one, we thank you for watching. Two, if you have a question, please put it in the comments. We want to definitely get to them during the live for sure. And if you watch on the replay, make sure you put hashtag replay. And if this information is, if you found it valuable, please share it with someone, as well as hit that subscribe button notification so you know next time we go live, which we're shooting for every Tuesday, 11:30-ish, the best that we can. Right.
Cool. All right, guys. So NAA happened last week in Chicago, and it was actually
Chi-town.
It was a lot of fun. So it was a great time. So
how many years have you been attending NAA as an exhibitor or as an attendee?
I have only attended NAA as an exhibitor, even though I'm 10 years on the other side of the business. But probably 7 or so NAAs.
Yeah.
So not all of them, but several of them. So it's been fun. How about you? How many have you done?
Mine, I think, we started in 2000. We started attending NAA. Our first trade show, I think, was in 2005. That's local. And then our state TAA, we were like 2008-ish, maybe 9. And then NAA was shortly right after that. So 2009, 2010. So whatever the year count, but it's definitely an experience, right?
Right. It's a big one, but it's a lot of fun. I will say, I know everyone had a lot of concerns about our attendance being, significantly lower thanks to our current, crappy world situation,
which we will stay away from. But
so we're not driving to that.
How was the attendance then?
The attendance I thought was really good because for me, I really did think that it was quality over quantity, which I'm okay with.
Me too.
I did feel like I had a lot of really good, valuable conversations with, decision makers that, I will be able to follow up with and hopefully, get some good business out of it, or at least make some really great contacts.
Yeah, for sure. It's that I've always found that the quality over quantity is definitely better. I mean, because normally NAA is so big that most people go, oh, I was there, but I didn't get to that side of the booth, right? Or that side of the trade show floor, or I had too many meetings, or, just there's so much back-to-back stuff going on that you don't always connect with, especially people locally that you're usually see. So anytime you can see your national people, it's always a great, use of time and dollars, I would say, for sure.
Right. Yeah, it was definitely good. I think that, we had a steady flow on the trade show floor, which is, always really good.
I heard that from others. You're not the only person I heard that from.
Another cool, interesting fact that I didn't even think about. I had, talked to some folks on the management side that thought that it was better for them. They felt like they were able to walk the trade show floor and talk to all of the companies that they wanted to talk to, because a lot of times in the past, they're crowded. Yeah. It's so crowded, and you finally get over there to that aisle, to that supplier that you want to talk to, and there's 20 people around the booth, and you just can't have a quality conversation. So you mosey on down, to the next aisle, and then pretty soon you're 2 over, and you're enthralled in other things, and you don't necessarily make it back. So to hear that they felt like they were able to have quality conversations and talk to the people that they wanted to talk to was eye-opening to me. And I didn't expect to hear that from their point of view.
100%. What do you think the importance of attending, of course you don't want to start at a national level because that expense is huge, right? A lot greater than say your local or your state. But what importance starting at your local level would you say for a trade show?
Yes. I think you should always start in your own backyard. Like, especially if you're coming into it and you have contacts, that's where
or if you don't, I started in DFW and I knew nobody when I came into the apartment business.
Yeah. So, but that's where you met your local people. You're able to maintain those conversations and make those connections. That's a lot harder to do on a national level with, people spread out all over the country, and then you go home and then you're probably not going to see them again for another year. So starting in your own backyard and developing those relationships makes a huge difference. And then you're
100%.
And then you're able to take it state. And fortunately, we have in Texas really strong associations that filter on up to our TAA level, and that's a great statewide show as well. So
Texas is one of the largest, and I can definitely tell you that when we exhibit at a local level, that's how we met our those local executives in that we just happen to be DFW, which is very strong, like HAA, Houston Apartment Association, but they were the ones that got us involved in the state level, right? So we started attending TAA, and you only have to be a member of one of your locals in whatever state to be a member of your state. Be a local, then makes you a member of your state association, which then automatically makes you a member of your national NAA. So just FYI, folks.
I know a lot of people don't know that, and I think that's really important. They think that they don't have a place in the state show or the national show, and I'm like, no, like you are a member.
Yes, yeah. Please, read the fine print. No, just kidding.
Yeah, utilize all of those services because they are for you.
Yeah. What did you? How did you and your company prepare for NAA?
So we are,
And how far in advance would you recommend?
Really far.
You go first. I'll tell you after that.
I would say, early on, like with this one, I, may have started about 6 to 8 months ahead of time. But we had a lot of, we don't know what's going to happen. Like, we normally
it's a little different,
right? But you do want to start early. You want to be prepared. You want to have a nice booth. There
professionally and clean.
Yes,
professional looking and clean. It doesn't have to be fancy, people, but professional and clean.
Professional and clean. There are a lot, it can be very overwhelming to walk into an NAA and see some of these, exhibitors and what they've brought to the table. And you're just like, holy moly, like this is insane. But, have a nice booth, keep it clean and professional. You don't have to have the most expensive booth in the building.
Correct. Just branded, clean, professional messaging. Make sure that you have, and what we found that if we didn't prepare far enough out, one, the more we attended, the better we got each year at remembering and doing things, to where it was almost like a science, right? We had a checklist. We knew we put calendar reminders on our calendar to remind, when we were to reserve. Well, we reserved the booth while we were there. At just about every trade show, you can do that. Reserve it while you're there exhibiting. But then we'd put calendar reminders for like hotels and flights and things like that. Like, shout out to Janet Settle. She was definitely super awesome in having that type of plan. But having a plan action helped us save money, right? Like, how much money do you think people waste, in your opinion, because they're not prepared for these types of shows? I mean, you're on.
And there are some things that I feel like, you do kind of, even me, I've been doing this forever. And, walking into NAA, I still had a couple of surprises that I had to deal with.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared for that. You never know.
Yeah.
But, just like with our team, there were 3 of us. So I made sure I sent them their list of, here are the places that I need you to be.
Yeah.
Here's when
was
the
always
trade show
important.
floor is going to be open, and here's what time you need to be there. And then outside of that, I mean, we all have our own like meetings and different things going on,
Yeah.
while
What
we're
would
there.
you, so for us, we as we grew with, salespeople, we also, in different regions, we made sure that they, their expectation of X amount of either appointments or contacts to then lead to X amount of appointments for afterwards. If you have a seasoned professional, that's a little bit different than if you have someone new coming in, but you still want to track and figure out what the expectation is for follow-up and appointments, right?
Right. And depending on how many people you have on your team,
Mm-hmm.
creates more of a challenge. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, there's always going to have to be that person or persons that, have to get to the trade show floor early and make sure everything gets set up and plugged in and that everything is there, So there's a lot of moving pieces, and you do have to kind of delegate things out. And, fortunately for us, like, we have a new booth this year, which I have to like give shout out to this new booth because it's literally the easiest booth that I've ever set up in my life. So
That's
it's like
awesome.
in 15 minutes, I can have our booth up
Woo,
and
woo.
out of there, like, and on to the next thing. So,
And that's important. People for smaller companies that travel to any, whether it's local or state or national, the easier booth can go up and come down and package into one container, the
right.
better, because there's also shipping fees when you start getting into bigger shows that you have to worry about. We used to have TVs of our own and shipped for our displays until they got stolen or lost, if you will, off of the truck that we won't say who the provider was. So we just started renting them while we were there. It's just, but as we got bigger, we could afford to rent that equipment. But having all that lined out is
I have it down to a science. I know that Southwest charges me $75 to check my booth versus $150 to $200 to ship. It's in my possession, and I know it's going to get there with me.
Yeah. So. And if for some reason it gets left, they're going to like overnight, they're going to do what they can do to get it to you. Like it's definitely a safer bet than if you ship it, and less expensive for sure.
Right. And make, I've seen, it breaks my heart for them, but I've seen a lot of people sitting around in their booths for a really long time with that booth that has 500 pieces. I love IKEA, but it's like an IKEA booth, and they struggle, and usually it's hot in those.
Yeah.
They haven't had the AC on very long, and you were on that struggle bus getting real frustrated trying to set that up. So I am a big supporter of having a current booth that is functional and convenient for you.
100%. And that it's as simple as humanly possible to put up, for sure. What would you say the on average a cost of? We shouldn't say that. Let's say, like when you're talking about costs for a trade show, without giving hard numbers, remember that you do have to plan on, once you have the booth, that's a one-time, that you can reuse over and over. But for each trade show, you have to worry about the, getting the booth, the space itself, right? The sometimes electricity, carpet, depending, a table. If you're going out of town, you have to worry, the costs of how many people that are going to be traveling, and whether it's gas or flight, hotel for sure, meals and entertainment. People don't understand that there's those costs of entertaining clients while you're out, as well as material while you're at the trade show. Is there anything else I forgot? Or
no, you nailed it all. And of course we can talk about giveaways.
Yeah. Giveaways.
Giveaways, which is, good and bad.
But it should be branded. Maybe, you could do candy, and then, get creative on an affordable, but like cookies, if you're a baker, you can do we used to put little Post-its and make a candy, what do you call it? Like a little goodie bag giveaway, right? That was smaller for passerbys who just like to grab things, and then maybe do a big prize that they had to register for and give us information to be able to even put into that drawing.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
What'd you guys?
I've gotten creative. And at one show, I just ordered the big pretty lollipops off of Amazon, and then made a cute sticker with a snazzy little something on it. And they were a hit. Who knew? You know, people loved them. So that was a good, you know, solid thing, you know, for NAA. You know, we spent a little bit more, did a little bit better, you know. But then I think too, you do need to have some sort of a drawing or giveaway in your booth. Just, you know, I think it's the natural instinct for a lot of these people. That's fun for them. They want to go by and they want to see what they can win. Now, you don't have to have the most expensive thing, you know. Out there, and at the end of the day, cash is king. So cards,
gift cards,
if you're struggling with like, I don't want to do another purse because I'm sure there's already going to be 100 purses there. People love money. I mean, you can throw a gift card into the mix too, and people get just as excited about it. You don't have to
for sure.
it. Right.
Yeah. You don't have to. And as you get, the more shows you attend, the more ideas you get, the more people share with you the things, you know, that you can come back with. And the following year, sometimes they have themes at these trade shows. So I would say just do the research, ask other suppliers, other supplier partners.
And walk your trade show floor too. Every trade show that you go to, I'm like, always make your own laps.
What?
You know,
for
walk
sure.
around and see what your neighbors are doing, see what they're giving away. I'm constantly looking at for the newest, you know, most fun marketing item that I can get, you know. You know, we all have pens and notepads and all of that good stuff, but I'm always have my eyes open for something that's just outside the box that I didn't think of. So
absolutely, 100%.
And those are all of the ideas. Everyone's ideas are on that floor, so there is no better place to get your ideas than that.
For sure. And thanks to the Googler, as I like to call it, it makes life even more easier than it ever has. So it's a one-stop shop, you know, resource to figure out and see other things that people have done, and, you know, mix things up. What another question I always get asked is about the attendee list. How do you guys, well, one, they're either an attendee list comes out before or after, right? Depends on what.
And there's always a final, like an after. So, you know, you always, or, you know, we're always excited to get that list.
And cleaning it up, and make sure that you know, clean it up and don't just spam everybody. Be thoughtful in whatever your follow-up email is going to be. I felt bad at a trade show you and I went to. The company will remain nameless. They got a email from the trade show set up on auto, and it's for the day before, unfortunately, that all these attendees got a thank you for
showing up at our booth. It was great, and the show hadn't even happened yet. So that was a little awkward.
So be careful. Like, it's happened to a lot of people. You know, there's been a commercial about how people, you know, blind copy or copy all on people. It's technology, so it's not perfect. So definitely keep that in mind.
Something that you can, everyone gets a badge, and, you know, they have the option for you as a supplier to rent the badge scanner and scan everyone that comes in and build a list. And, you know, that's also another expense.
But it's well worth it for sure.
If you don't do it, one of the things that I've always done, if I've had a really meaningful conversation with somebody, I just take a picture of their badge, because I will track that information down, and I will get that final attendee list.
Taking notes.
At least I know, like, I can pull up the photos on my phone and know these are all, you know, I know I had a good quality conversation with them, so I can be more personable in my follow-up email to them, as opposed to, you know, the opposite. So
and there are plenty of apps out like now, or just using your notes on your phone. So there, you know, Evernote, you can attach a picture to, you can use a Google Doc form there, you know, or you just use your notes on your phone. There, every phone has a feature for the note pad, so you can do that as well. So, but taking notes is key, so that way afterwards you can follow up. That's
right.
It just floors me when people don't follow up afterwards and do anything with the leads or those emails that you get, and nothing comes out of all this money as the owner operator of, company for 15 years, and you're spending all this money on marketing, for your salespeople to be there, and they not do anything with those leads is just dumbfounding.
The waste.
Yeah, for sure. 100 and frustrating, right?
I mean, we go because we're trying to create more business for ourselves.
100, yeah.
That's
and for the company. So, it's a win-win for everyone. And they are most effective when you are participating, like you said, taking your own lap around, because you do run into people that might not know where your booth is at.
Right.
And that's a good, segue into, now you can post in advance where your booth is on all your social media. And, if you can't put it on your website, you don't have that, that ease and capability, you can put it on social media. You can send it in a text, as well as an email, and just call up people, right, that hey, we're going to be here, come by and visit us.
Right.
We didn't have that before.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like leading up to the show. I mean, I feel like I don't have to send out just a ton of emails telling people. Like I'll put things on social, but we do so much here just in Houston that like it's a constant conversation for months leading up to NAA.
Yeah.
Are you going to NAA? Are you,
Yeah.
And you just immediately start putting your plan together before you even realize you're putting your plan together. So
yeah. And just a little tip, folks, if you are going to have a client dinner or invite a group of clients out, make sure you're making those preparations at least 3 months out. Exactly. And sending out those invites. 2 months is pushing it, and a month is really hard because these management folks are getting invites just thrown at them, and they are especially if they're an existing client, depending on if they get to see you. We always had clients that would say, oh, I haven't seen you. You're top on our list. We want to spend time with you. This is a once in a year event. So they would make sure that we were, plugged in there. Or if they were a new client, asking them to have coffee or lunch, it's easier because then a dinner event, that's a little bit more personal. If you're really close to closing that, maybe they might come along. But, just be mindful about those things, right? Would you
right.
I mean, how was your all's
party?
Your boat party? Yeah,
our boat party was a lot of fun.
Because you guys teamed up with a couple other suppliers, right?
We had 5 supplier partners total involved. Cool. And we had suppliers from all over the U.S. Companies that were
smart.
Specifically, I wanted to make sure that we spread that out, and so that we brought our clients together, and it was an organic networking event for all of us, and it was great. Everyone had a great time, and I kept it simple too. Like I didn't spend $10,000 like some companies can, so I was able to still put a quality event together that was very impactful. Everyone had a great time, and everyone got what they wanted out of it. So it was and
the key is that you networked with multiple companies that were not just in one location, right? So it was a give and take, and you were able to network with everyone.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So you have to put a little strategy in place with these shows, but
for sure
it was very successful. It went off without a hitch, so I'm very happy with it.
That's awesome. It's definitely makes the whole leading up to the event well worth it, because whoever's coordinating those things it can get a little stressful,
yes,
with making. So hats off to you and whoever from the other 5 companies that helped you coordinate that one, because I don't miss those days for sure. I like to just show up.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the just showing up. Just getting the invite is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it was great. And I mean, it just worked out. And I started on that like several months in advance.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I needed to get our invitations out there. We needed to get our list together and secure that time with the client, because there were going to be a million other things going on that they were going to be invited to. So I mean, we had to get going on that and secure those names and get those RSVPs in order for it to make sense. So
Yeah,
it really worked out.
for
Our
sure.
timing was good and it was a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. So as people are coming to whether your event or your booth, who should you network with? You know, this is like,
Mhm.
and how should you go about deciding, you know, like what kind of questions do you ask people to figure out,
Mhm.
you know, like this is one of my biggest pet peeves about suppliers in general is that, you know, I always, it didn't matter who they were. I talked to them, you know, hi, how are you
Yes.
doing? You know, where are you from? What company you with? You know, what do you do? You know, what do you do there? You know, qualifying them, but don't, you know, dismiss them if they are not, one, a decision maker, or two, in the, you know, like, you know, if it's somebody that you feel can't help you, right? Like,
Right.
you know, you should talk to everybody
You
because
should
you don't know,
absolutely.
one, who they know, who they could refer you to, or two, what position that they're going to be in the future.
And they will refer you on the floor. I had several
Ah,
conversations where someone said, "This is not in my wheelhouse, but it
mm-hmm.
is Susie's and she's here and I'll bring her back over here." And they
There
did.
you go.
You
Yeah,
know, so yeah, qualifying them and asking the conversations is really important,
yeah,
because
and not just automatically dismissing people.
no, I talked to
Be,
a guy and I mean he had a CAMT, you know, and I thought, well, you know, I mean he doesn't, but I mean I was going to talk to him and ask him questions anyways, and it turns out he's kind of the jack of all trades. He works in
mm-hmm.
the office, he does maintenance, he does some of the new construction things. Like he really is all over the place. And even though I didn't at first think that he was going to understand exactly what I did, because I
Uh-huh.
assumed he didn't work in the office, he knew. And he was like, "Oh, this is great. Yeah, I need
Mm-hmm.
to give this to so and so, or make sure you follow up with this name." So you should always talk to everybody.
Yeah, 100%. Being kind is.
He,
I feel like we shouldn't have to say it, but
we
that's
have
the
to
key.
say it.
We have to say it. So we have to say
Be
it now.
kind.
We have to be nice people.
Exactly.
Well, so overall, you'd say it was 100% worth it.
I do. You know, as usual, like, you know, you always want to see what shakes out over the last, you know, over the next couple months,
Yeah.
after a show, but it was still a very positive experience. There were a few things, you know, that were, you know, that I didn't love, but, you know, everything was a little bit weird and
Mm-hmm.
everyone did the best they can with, you know, what we were given.
Yeah.
So, but it was positive and I can't complain. Like it was good.
Yeah.
So,
That's good. That's,
mhm.
hey,
And I was a little concerned going into it. I was like, what is this going to be like? I don't know.
yeah,
Is it
for
going to
sure.
be worth it? And
Yeah.
I do think 100% it was.
Because everybody's time is worth something, right? And if you
Mhm.
go all the way up there and you spend that money, you want to make sure that it was worth the time.
Exactly.
You had solid, you know, leads or solid meetings or whatever it is, because you can't get that time back and
Nope.
or the dollars. So it's definitely
Right.
that's good to hear that you felt it was worth it. A lot of the suppliers that I spoke with said that they had the same response as you had, that they had good meetings, that it was quality over quantity, which I'm all about for sure.
Hmm.
And like if I could talk to, if you know, without naming names, the quality over quantity trade shows were always the ones that we definitely enjoyed and had the best results from, if you will, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
that makes the difference. Um, well, did I miss anything? Was there
Nope.
anything else you wanted to share before
I don't think
we're trying to
so.
be conscious of our 30-minute
Yep.
time, and
We're
we're
almost there, but I do think we covered a lot. We covered all the highlights.
make sure you attend and prepare people
Yes. Yes. And you
at
know
the
what?
highest level.
If you are new and there are so many other supplier partners that you can reach out to. Every association has a product service council with someone that you can have a conversation with that can help mentor and guide you through this and give you really solid advice.
Yeah,
So
for
don't ever
sure.
think that you are jumping into one of these trade shows, you know, with no resources and no tools. Like
Yeah.
there are so many people that are going to
And
be
ask.
with you.
Don't be scared, especially if you're a new member. They want you to ask the questions. That's the problem, is they don't, if you don't ask the question, how are you going to know? Right. And
Right.
they will definitely hook you up with the right people, get you on the right, you want to volunteer. There's things to volunteer, and that's how you meet people.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely it was the changing experience. It was a game changer for us, for me. And I highly recommend to everyone that comes into multifamily, that's what they should be doing. And big shout out to HAA for their expo, which is
Mm-hmm.
the September 22nd, right?
Yep, at NRG Hall, and it will be a
Ah,
good time.
we'll do our live before then, and
Yes, Houston always represents,
yes,
so it'll be a great show. We promise it'll be a lot
yeah.
of fun, and
Maybe we'll go live from there
we should do that. We should do
during the
that.
setup. A short one. We'll
Yes.
figure that one out. So, well, we appreciate everyone, anyone who joins, who watches on the replay. Remember, let us know #replay and where you watched from. We really appreciate that. If you have a question later on the replay, just put it down. We'll get it answered. If you want to join us, if you have questions about associations, email either one of us, please. If you want to be on the live, email either one of us or leave it in the comments. It's better to email us, though, probably. And what else?
Any topics that you guys want to talk about, like, let us know. We want to bring the experts to the table for you guys and make sure that we're giving you the information that you want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Next week, we have Cody Osterman. I made that mix up, but next week, Cody will be on talking to us about startups. So, and
He's
being
with
in
Enter
multifamily.
Solutions.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is a multifamily staffing company. So
yes.
He will have a lot of good insight for us.
Yeah, and he's been on the management side for a long time too, before he went to Enter Solutions. So he can talk to you a little bit from, what's it like on both of those sides as it relates to startups. So
cool. All right.
Cool.
Time.
Thank you guys again. And until next Tuesday, peace out.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.